Mr. Powell claims that his wife, Ms. Burns, cheated on him with Mr. Jones just after their wedding bells stopped ringing. This dramatic beginning led to Ms. Burns swapping her home with Mr. Powell for a new setup with Mr. Jones, stirring up a huge paternity question mark over their child. Buckle up, it's just the appetizer.
You claim your wife, Ms. Burns, cheated on you with the man standing next to her. Okay, then she left you to live with him, and now you say the paternity of your child is in question.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you see that curveball coming? Ms. Burns is caught in a whirlwind of hope and doubt, wishing that her ex-husband, Mr. Powell, is her son's father, despite her current squeeze, Mr. Jones, also being a strong contender. This spicy mix adds a whole lot of flavor to the paternity stew. Stay tuned, the plot thickens.
You believe that your boyfriend, Mr. Jones, could be your son's father, but confess you secretly hope he's your ex-husband's biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't believe this twist. Mr. Powell spills the tea on their roller coaster romance, where any argument could send Ms. Burns packing and crashing at someone else's place, including Mr. Jones's. These revelations add layers of drama to their already complicated marriage saga. And guess what? There's more juice ahead.
Every time that we would get into an argument, she would leave me and go be with another person. And then if she got upset with that person, she would do the exact same thing, come back to me and sleep with me.
Now, how long did this go on for?
For about a year.
You married her during this time, and you continually take her back.
That's right, because I love her from the bottom of my heart.
This revelation will make you raise your eyebrows. In a revealing moment, Ms. Burns admits that the shaky ground of her marriage to Mr. Powell drove her into Mr. Jones's arms, throwing a spotlight on her wavering commitments and muddying the relationship timeline even further. The next chapter is even more eye-opening.
Into your marriage, you end up with Mr. Jones.
Our marriage was good at first, mine and Kevin's. And
Well, it's just 90 days.
Mr. Powell's had a job and then he'd lose his job. I figured everything was put off on me. I have 3 other children other than the baby I provide for. I felt like all the burden was pushed off onto me.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Mr. Powell learns about Ms. Burns' side hustle with Mr. Jones straight from the horse's mouth, confirming his worst fears and setting the stage for a paternity showdown. The intrigue continues, and you won't want to miss what comes next.
So you told him, Ms. Burns?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you say?
Mr. Powell called me and asked if anything had happened between me and Mr. Jones, and told him yes, it had.
This plot twist is too juicy to miss. After introducing their daughter to Mr. Jones, Ms. Burns spends a scandalous 2 days with him, which happens to coincide suspiciously with the time she becomes pregnant. This pivotal turn could sway the entire paternity case. The following revelation will definitely rattle you.
Hang out with Mr. Jones and
What?
2 days, Your Honor.
For 2 days?
And she took
married woman?
all of her things and went and lived with Mr.
Your Honor,
Jones.
she told me that her and Mr. Powell were actually getting, she didn't want anything to do with him.
Where did you tell your husband you were?
We were not getting.
If this is happy, I don't want to see sad.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, the courtroom becomes a mixer of emotions as Mr. Powell unveils his feelings of betrayal, while Ms. Burns' conflicting narratives add more spice to the already bubbling pot. Fasten your seatbelts, the emotional roller coaster is about to hit a loop.
I called her the second day after she had left, and she straight out admits to me, yeah, I slept with Mr. Jones.
Ms. Burns, how soon after that did you find out you were pregnant?
almost 2 months after I had separated.
So when you were pregnant, did you tell both men you were pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
You'll need a moment to process this bomb. It turns out Ms. Burns has been keeping her nights busy with Mr. Powell until just a week ago, which throws a wrench into the whole paternity debate and her current relationship status with Mr. Jones. The next twist in this saga is just around the corner, and it's a doozy.
We're still having sex, Your Honor.
All this time?
Yes. Even to this day.
What?
Up till a week ago.
Up till a week ago?
Yes.
Wait, Mr. Jones, you're laughing. Are you laughing because you don't believe it, or are you laughing because it's possible?
I'm laughing because I'm not very happy.
A lie detector test confirms Mr. Powell's claims of recent intimacy with Ms. Burns, leading to a pivotal moment where hidden truths are laid bare, challenging Ms. Burns' credibility even further. The scene is set, and what follows is absolutely jaw-dropping.
The question you were asked was as follows. Are you lying when you said you had sex with Ashley Burns in the last 30 days? You answered no. The lie detector determined you were telling the truth.
Now what? What do you have to say now?
The suspense is killer, isn't it? The DNA results finally come in.
Mr. Powell or Mr. Jones is his father. Mr. Jones, you are his father.
Sorry, man, I was rooting for you, bro.
Ms. Clay Edmond opens the case by explaining her son DeAnthony's tragic death in a car accident. She accuses Ms. Rudolph of falsely claiming that her deceased son is the father of Ms. Rudolph's 2-year-old daughter, Dabria, to extort money from his family. The courtroom is about to dive into even deeper waters, so keep your eyes peeled.
Miss Clay Edmond, you are in court on behalf of your son, DeAnthony, who tragically died in a car accident. You want to prove that he is not the biological father of the defendant's 2-year-old daughter, Dabria. You say Ms. Rudolph is trying to swindle money from the family, and you have evidence to prove another man is the father.
The plot thickens significantly here. Ms. Rudolph counters Ms. Clay Edmond's claims, firmly insisting that the baby was planned with DeAnthony before his untimely demise. She stands her ground, claiming he is indeed the father of her child. Strap in because the mother's next bomb is just around the corner.
You say this baby was planned by you and the deceased, Mr. Clay, and you are adamant he is the father.
Yes, Sean.
So, Miss Clay Edmond, why do you believe she's claiming this baby is your son?
Because she's a gold digger and she's looking for somebody to take care of her baby.
And that's the only reason?
That's the only reason I can see at this point.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, it does. Ms. Clay Edmond describes receiving a message from Ms. Rudolph the day after her son's demise, which shockingly was the first time she heard about Dabria. This message declared that DeAnthony was the father of Ms. Rudolph's nearly 1-year-old child at the time. The courtroom's temperature is about to rise with the next juicy details.
Miss Rudolph on through Messenger Facebook claiming that my son, which died the day before, that he was the father of her then 1-year-old, going to be 1-year-old at the time.
Did your son ever say anything about the baby, a 1-year-old?
No, Your Honor. I didn't know anything about the baby or her, Miss Rudolph.
And were you and your son very close?
Yes, Your Honor.
Another man is named on Dabria's birth certificate, casting a huge shadow of doubt on the paternity claims. Ms. Clay Edmond expresses her bewilderment and distress over the conflicting messages she's been bombarded with. The next revelation is ready to turn the heat up even more.
Anything connected to him, I wanted to be a part of. When all of this went about, we accepted the baby, we put her on their obituary, bought her things for Christmas, we did all of that. All of this went down, that's when we started getting messages from different people saying that she was doing this for money, that it was another young man named on the birth certificate, and the little baby had another man's name.
As emotions skyrocket, Ms. Clay Edmond recounts how she initially embraced Dabria, thinking she was her granddaughter, only to grow suspicious of Ms. Rudolph's motives after hearing rumors and seeing the birth certificate listing another man as the father. Fasten your seatbelts. The testimony up next will throw everyone for a loop.
You accepted the baby? You said you started buying things for the baby?
I bought her stuff for the funeral, and then we also bought stuff for...
All right.
So, you know.
And at what point then have tragically lost your son, and I'm so very sorry for your loss. You find out he has a baby, an almost 1-year-old child, and you say, well, this is a piece of him, I am going to embrace this child.
Yes.
The drama in the courtroom reaches a fever pitch, with fierce accusations flying. In a heated exchange, Ms. Rudolph attempts to defend her actions and her relationship with DeAnthony, while Ms. Clay Edmond accuses her of deceit and manipulation regarding the true paternity of her daughter. The courtroom is about to get a serious shakeup as the birth certificate is brought into play.
So another man said he was the biological father of Dabria.
Yes.
Excuse me.
And he signed the birth certificate.
Yes.
Miss Rudolph, how do you respond to that?
After I cut him off and had no dealings with him, I got back with my baby's father.
And
he
the
knew
only
that
reason
I
why
was
you
pregnant.
did it because you want to get back with him.
No.
But you're not going to stand here and tell this judge that my son planned a baby with you. He can't take care of himself.
The court meticulously examines Dabria's birth certificate, which indeed lists another man as the father, complicating the case further and casting serious doubts about Ms. Rudolph's credibility. The stakes are high, and the next piece of testimony could change everything.
I know that there's another guy on the birth certificate that is not DeAnthony.
Does anyone have the birth certificate here?
Yeah, he on.
You do?
Yeah.
Jerome, will you please hand that? This is the birth certificate for Dabria Taylor Rudolph.
Yes, Sean.
And there is another man listed.
Yes, Sean.
A new witness steps up to the plate, bringing a fresh angle to the story. Ms. Gaston asserts that DeAnthony indeed expressed a desire to have a baby with Ms. Rudolph, contradicting earlier claims by Ms. Clay Edmond that her son had no such intentions. Get ready, the judge is about to cut through the noise with some hard-hitting insights.
He was at the house. Brittany called him and told him she was pregnant. He was happy at first. He found out he had another baby on the way, and she found out that he was talking to other females. That's when he wanted to switch it up and make it seem like he didn't want the baby no more. That's why she said that she didn't want no dealings with him.
At any point, did he accept Dabria? Did he ever see her, hold her, spend time with her?
No, Your Honor.
As the courtroom buzzes with tension, Judge Lake tries to sift through the chaos to find some clarity. She summarizes the conflicting testimonies about DeAnthony's knowledge and acceptance of his alleged daughter, trying to piece together the true story. Everyone holds their breath as we edge closer to the climactic reveal of the DNA test results.
Debria was born, and on 2 occasions with you, Ms. Clay Edmond, he mentioned that there was a baby.
Yes, he did.
And then with his cousin, Ms. Clay, he mentioned there was a baby.
Yes, he did.
Because she told him that he
And
wasn't.
that's why we're here, Your Honor. We're
He
not
told-
trying to. He could never be the dad or nothing like that.
That's my point.
The DNA test results are disclosed.
The percentage of relatedness, Clay Edmond and Debria Rudolph is 99.98%.
Thank you.
Okay, so, and so what?
Okay, well, good. I'm glad. I have closure now.
Strap in for this roller coaster. Judge Lake announces the case of Hollins-Williams versus Anderson. Mr. Hollins is demanding a DNA test, as he claims he is not the father of Ms. Anderson's 17-month-old daughter, Chloe, despite paying child support. Ms. Anderson insists that Mr. Hollins is the father and needs to take responsibility. Buckle up because the drama is just starting to heat up.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Hollins-Williams versus Anderson.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Hollins, you are demanding a DNA test today because you say you are not the father of Ms. Anderson's 17-month-old daughter, Chloe.
Yes,
You
Your Honor.
claim to be paying support for a child.
Yes, Your
Ms.
Honor.
Anderson, you say Mr. Hollins need to step up and take responsibility for his actions and his child.
Mr. Hollins explains his absence from previous court dates, attributing it to his mother's health issues and other personal complications. Ms. Anderson contests his excuses, noting his repeated failures to appear, which contributed to his default child support responsibilities. Grab some popcorn. The next part is even juicier.
Failed to appear in court because I didn't want to take a DNA test and had to pay for it all by myself.
I offered to go half with Mr. Hollins, but he wanted me to pay the whole thing. And he never went to court to take the DNA test. 4 times. He failed to appear 4 times.
Your Honor, that's
4
not right.
times you failed to appear?
No, what happened was my mother had 2 brain aneurysms. That's the reason why I failed to appear.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Wait till you get a load of this. Details of the child support arrangement are discussed. Mr. Hollins has been ordered to pay $62 monthly and share healthcare expenses, despite his doubts about paternity. Ms. Anderson claims she has received only $100 in total, while Mr. Hollins insists that $400 has been deducted from his wages. And guess what? It's about to get wilder.
So she'll pay child support in the amount of $62 monthly for 1 child.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you have to help pay healthcare expenses. So the bottom line is you were ordered to pay child support and you've been paying it.
No, Your Honor. In all, I received $100 from Mr. Hollins.
No, she lying. I didn't pay $400. They take money out my check.
Did that just happen? The relationship history between Mr. Hollins and Ms. Anderson is recounted. Their relationship faced challenges when another woman claimed to be pregnant by Mr. Hollins. Ms. Anderson continued the relationship despite discovering Mr. Hollins's infidelity. Brace yourself. The revelations keep coming.
At one point in time, we was in a relationship. I liked her. You feel me? I was feeling her.
Was she your girlfriend?
Yeah, she was my
Yes,
girlfriend.
Your Honor, we were in a relationship until another young woman wrote me on Facebook and told me that she was pregnant by Mr. Hollins and that her and Mr. Hollins was in a relationship. And I asked Mr. Hollins about it. He thought it was funny. We were on the 3-way with a girl. He didn't know that I was on the phone. And he basically said if he couldn't have both of us, he didn't want neither of us.
Oh, the plot thickens. The paternity doubt deepens as Mr. Hollins details Ms. Anderson's trip with another man during their relationship, which she took despite his objections. This trip and her secretive behavior led to his doubts about being the father of her child. The drama isn't over yet. Wait till you see what's next.
It was literally a friend, nothing more than a friendship. But Mr. Hollins, he said, if you go, then we're done.
You don't even supposed to be going out of town with him from the beginning. We in a relationship.
I'd like to hear about your doubt.
Reason-
Why are you doubtful?
I told her to be honest with me and she didn't.
I thought me and Mr. Hollins was better than this. When we got together, we were like best friends almost. The things that has happened since she was born, stuff that's been said, I never thought that me and Mr. Hollins be like this today.
No way. Did she just say that? A shocking revelation occurs when Ms. Anderson admits she did not know she was pregnant until the day she gave birth, which she discovered during an emergency hospital visit prompted by severe back pain. Keep your eyes peeled because there's more to come.
Mr. Hollins, how do you find out Ms. Anderson's pregnant?
Facebook, online. Facebook tell a lot of stuff. I found out on Facebook.
That she had a baby or that she was pregnant?
She had a baby. The pregnancy I didn't never know about.
Wait a minute, so from the point she went out of town with the friend until she actually
came back-
gave birth to the child, had no idea she was even pregnant?
No idea.
How
He
is
had
that
no
the
idea
case?
because I had no idea I was pregnant until the day I had her.
Hold the phone. Here's another curveball. Ms. Anderson admits to being intimate with another man, Mr. Williams, around the same time as Mr. Hollins. A paternity calculator suggests Mr. Williams could also potentially be the father based on the conception dates. The story takes another turn. Don't blink now.
I went on the internet and I found a conception calendar and I put in when did I get pregnant, because I never was given a date of when I conceived. So I put in when did I get pregnant. They asked for her birthday. When they asked for her birthday, it then took me back to Leo when I had sex with Leo.
I have a conception calendar right here. Let me get these dates. The date you were intimate with the other man is what?
March the 30th.
March the 30th.
Can you believe it? This is a turning point. The court discusses the implications of Ms. Anderson's actions and Mr. Hollins's failures to appear for DNA testing. Judge Lake points out that the lack of clarity and responsibility from both parties has led to the current complicated situation. Fasten your seatbelts for the final reveal.
You didn't have sex with somebody else 2 days after me. That means clearly you don't know who the daddy is. How you just gonna falsely blame me? Everything.
This situation could have been dealt with months ago if Mr. Hollins would have showed up for the DNA test.
Listen, Mr. Hollins, I understand your concern. I do. But Ms. Anderson has a point as well. You had 4 times to show up to do the DNA test and you failed to appear.
Here comes the big reveal. This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Williams, you are not the father. Mr. Hollins, you are her father.
Are we really doing this? The episode kicks off with a formal declaration of the case, Phillips versus Maltese. Both parties are in the courtroom, clearly ready to unravel the complex drama surrounding the paternity of their child, Brooklyn. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the next part.
Hello.
This is the case of Phillips versus Maltese.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Phillips, you admit to having a threesome behind the defendant's back and then sleeping with his friend 1 week later. Now you claim you're unsure who fathered your 1-year-old daughter, Brooklyn.
Seriously, did that just happen? Miss Phillips comes clean about her multiple escapades, including a threesome and a secretive fling with Mr. Maltese's buddy, which she admits might have led to the birth of little Brooklyn. The courtroom atmosphere is thick with tension as these juicy details emerge. Just wait, the next twist is a doozy.
Found Miss Phillips' diary and it contained a full list of potential fathers. You're convinced her daughter is not your biological child. You have no idea who fathered your daughter?
I know that there are 2 other possibilities besides Michael.
You had sex more than twice.
The first time, I never lied to him, Your Honor. I've never lied. He's a liar.
You can't make this stuff up. Mr. Maltese drops a bombshell by revealing he stumbled upon Miss Phillips' diary, which lists potential fathers of Brooklyn. This revelation has him convinced he's not the biological father, escalating the conflict to new heights and adding a delicious layer of betrayal. You won't want to miss what comes next.
He talks to girls on the internet. He wants to act all innocent, like he never did anything to me.
Okay.
Probably back in December of 2011. We broke up and she came back to me crying, asking me to take her back. We was at a friend's house and she yelled at me in front of all my friends and in front of her friends also. That's why I had sex with one of your friends.
Things are heating up, aren't they? The argument heats up as accusations fly like dinner plates in a soap opera between Miss Phillips and Mr. Maltese. Miss Phillips maintains her innocence regarding the paternity situation, while Mr. Maltese questions her honesty, dredging up past lies about unrelated matters. The plot thickens. Keep watching, it only gets better from here.
When I was 3 months pregnant, I let him know that his friend, his potential friend, not the threesome, but his friend was a possibility. He got over it, said he wanted to be there no matter what, and then he blew up on me in a gas station. Go be with this guy, go give him oral sex, go, and I just basically told him my kid doesn't need a dad.
Can this get any more intense? As the stakes rise, Miss Phillips discusses the emotional roller coaster of her pregnancy and Mr. Maltese's reaction. This heart-to-heart reveals deeper relationship issues, showcasing the tangled emotional and social web entwined with the paternity question. The next segment will knock your socks off.
Your child does need a dad.
She does. And pregnant. He was yelling at me pregnant to go find my real baby daddy. To go find my real
with so
baby
many
daddy.
guys.
So wait a minute, Mr. Maltese,
I even found a diary.
I'm sorry?
I found a diary of hers.
Cue the dramatic music, please. We shift our focus to the notorious diary found by Mr. Maltese, which features a list of 18 to 20 men with whom Miss Phillips had sexual relations. This pivotal moment offers a tangible peek into her complicated sexual history, crucial to the paternity mystery. The revelation up next is a real jaw-dropper.
I go to my daughter's room, and there's a pile of diapers on the floor in front of her crib. I happen to find a diary. I go through it because I have a lot of reasons not to believe a word that comes out of her mouth. And I just go through the diary, 20 guys that she slept with.
I have my diary right here, Your Honor, with the list of guys I've been with since I lost my virginity.
This is getting spicy. Miss Phillips whips out a calendar that details her sexual escapades, including dates she slept with Mr. Maltese, participated in a threesome, and hooked up with his friend. friends. This detailed account is supposed to clarify timelines, but instead highlights the chaotic whirlwind of her relationships. Buckle up, the climax is just around the corner.
Talking about the guys that I've been with over 6 years, and that's my list of...
Jerome, let me see this diary. All right, there are 18 names listed. Quite a list.
And out of those 18, 2 to 3 of them are my friends that she slept with.
Here comes the big reveal. As the court braces for the DNA test results, the air is thick with anticipation. These results will definitively determine whether Mr. Maltese is the father of Brooklyn, bringing a climax to the episode's emotional and narrative buildup. The outcome is next, and it's a stunner.
You're cleaning up and you find this. You read it, and what do you discover?
2 of my friends' names. At the time, when we first started, I found the list. There was about 16 to 17 guys' names on it. I find more names on that list that happen to be my friends. Okay, after she has sex with them, my friends come to me and tell me the story.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Give me a lie detector test right now.
All right.
You're not ready for this. In a dramatic turn of events, the DNA test results confirm.
Maltese Phillips, Mr. Maltese, you are her father.
That's all I want to know.
A month of her life, you better make it up.
You're the one that kept it from me.
Ms. Sims kicks off the case with a bombshell, accusing her mother and the man she thought was her dad of pulling the wool over her eyes about her paternity for a whopping 36 years. She's armed with evidence she claims proves Mr. Johnson isn't her biological father, leading her to file a lawsuit for paternity fraud. Buckle up, because this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Ms. Sims, you say your mother and your alleged father intentionally deceived you for 36 years by claiming that Mr. Johnson is your biological father for paternity fraud because you claim to have proof that you are not his daughter.
Just when you think you've seen it all, Ms. Sims dives deep into her doubts about Mr. Johnson actually being her dad, pointing out medical and family history inconsistencies that don't line up with Mr. Johnson's. Her distress over being duped her whole life affects not just her, but her daughter too. The emotional stakes are high, and what's coming next is going to stir the pot even more.
Ms. Sims, so what do you mean they deceived you?
Well, for my whole life, I've always thought that Henry, my dad, I just have a multitude of things that have come up that show me that potentially could not be, including my health and my daughter's health. We don't have any family history that is consistent throughout the family of my dad's family.
This twist will knock your socks off. Ms. Sims reminisces about her childhood days spent with Mr. Johnson, highlighting a bond so strong it defined her identity. Despite the swirling doubts, she treasures the relationship, emphasizing his positive influence on her life. The story takes a deeper dive next, so keep your eyes peeled.
I met my dad when I was 4 years old, so I mean a little later than most people, but after I was introduced to him, I spent a lot of time with him. He made me who I am today. He made me strong. He made me very, very responsible. He was a person that definitely encouraged me to be a better person always. So yes, I'm definitely a daddy's girl.
Did that really just drop? Mr. Johnson confesses he's always harbored doubts about being Ms. Sims's biological father, but kept mum to protect their bond. His unwavering commitment to her doesn't waver, though he admits the current paternity debacle might have dented her trust in him. Brace yourself. The revelations up next are even juicier.
I've always known there was some doubt, but I never mentioned it to her because I didn't see any reason for it. Maybe she has less trust in me now, but it doesn't affect the way I feel about her.
You say you feel like she may have less trust in you.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
I mean, in a small aspect, yes. I mean, my mom and my dad, because together, they raised me, so together they knew that there was an opportunity that someone else could be my biological father.
You'll need to sit down for this one. A major twist unfolds as Ms. Sims discusses her lupus diagnosis, which sparked her suspicions about her paternity. The lack of autoimmune diseases in her family history led her down a path of questionings and seeking the truth about her real dad. Strap in, because the family drama escalates from here.
That made you realize that there could be another possibility.
So in 2001, I was diagnosed with lupus. And you know how when you go through your physical, like they say, give me your family history and things of that nature, where I have no autoimmune disorders on either side of my mother or father's family. And so I just rolled that out. Throughout that, I went to nursing school and I became a nurse. And with more research and really understanding the disease, I realized that it could be hereditary, could be some background to the things that are wrong.
Grab your popcorn. This is getting good. The plot thickens as Ms. Sims details a poignant conversation with her father, where he admits there's a chance he might not be her real dad. This bombshell not only rocks her world, but sets the stage for more explosive truths to come. Get ready, because the courtroom is about to turn up the heat.
Well, I actually talked to my dad first because, you don't ever want to insult anyone or anything like that. And I actually talked to my dad about it. My dad kind of was like, well, yeah, I kind of agree that there may be a chance that you're not mine, and I will support you to look for your person.
How long ago was?
I want to say like a year, a little bit more than a year. So that shocked me, and I was just like, that's a big pill to swallow when your dad actually does know that he could potentially not be your dad and has never mentioned it.
Are you ready for this roller coaster? Mrs. Smith, the mother, steps into the spotlight admitting there's a chance Mr. Johnson isn't the biological father, which unravels the story of their past relations and a fleeting romantic fling. This confession adds another layer of complexity to the paternity puzzle. The next testimonies will make your jaw drop.
Mr. Johnson, what do you remember? You say you only had sex with Ms. one time?
We were seeing each other for about 2 months as friends. One day we took a shower together and we ended up in the bed having sex.
Did you know she was in another relationship at the time?
Yes, I did. That's why it took me so long.
Oh, that's why you didn't try to have sex with her sooner, but then this day after the shower, all bets were off.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
The tension could be cut with a knife. Ms. Sims sheds light on discrepancies in her family narrative, notably her last name and the unexpected name listed as her father on her birth certificate. Definitely not Mr. Johnson. This revelation triggers a crucial turning point in her quest for the truth. Keep watching, because the courtroom drama is about to hit a fever pitch.
The father's name, there is another man's name, not Henry Johnson.
Not Henry Johnson.
So you had a name?
Yes, I had a name. And the way it's explained to us, or to me, is that was just and consistently, me and my siblings all had the same last name. So as big a deal because we still all had the same name. And my mom just said, well, I gave you my last name.
The moment of truth is almost here. As we edge closer to the verdict, the courtroom buzzes with anticipation. Ms. Sims underscores the importance of establishing her biological father's identity, not just for personal clarity, but for vital medical reasons affecting her family's future. The DNA results are imminent, and you won't believe what's about to unfold.
Once again, I said, I'm a nurse and a mom. And just with my knowledge of medical history and background, it's important for me to identify, if there's someone else and I can kind of trace their history to see if there's other genetic diseases that I need to be worried about. Also, my daughter may one day want to have a family too, and is it something that she should be worried about? Do not want to lose another one to something that I can, avoid by just a little bit of information and doing things before it happens versus hindsight.
You won't believe this ending. The DNA test results are finally unveiled.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
Here we go, right out of the gate. Ms. Moore claims Mr. Butler doubts his paternity due to his manipulative wife. The audience reacts audibly. Mr. Butler counters, saying Ms. Moore herself has repeatedly told him he's not the father. Get ready, because the drama is just heating up.
Ms. Moore, you say there is only one reason the defendant, Mr. Butler, has doubts he fathered your 1-year-old daughter, and that's because of his manipulating wife. Mr. Butler, you argue you've been told on multiple occasions by the plaintiff Hurst that you are not her child's father.
Now, isn't this a spicy twist? The judge probes Mr. Butler about his doubts. Mr. Butler reveals that Ms. Moore told him directly that he wasn't the father during a confrontation with his wife, which adds tension in the courtroom. Strap in, folks. The roller coaster is just taking off.
She told me I'm not the baby daddy.
One time was because he was harassing me, him and his so-called quote-unquote wife.
So you admit, Ms. Moore, you told him you're not the child's father?
One time.
How did that conversation happen?
It's happened because she told me I'm not the dad. She told me I'm not the father.
Why would she tell you that?
The baby don't even look like me.
Did everyone catch that revelation? A key witness, Ms. Harrison, recalls an incident where she heard Ms. Moore denying Mr. Butler's paternity over a phone call, amplifying the doubt about the paternity and leading to further disputes between the involved parties. The plot thickens, so stay tuned for more twists.
One time.
That's a lie.
Harassment.
Really, harassment?
Harassment.
I never harassed
you
a
so-called
day.
husband.
Whatever. At one particular time when she was on the phone, he had her on speaker, and she told him, "You're not the dad. You don't have to do nothing for this baby."
Harassment. You're right.
You heard it
You're
yourself.
right.
I heard it myself.
You won't see this coming. Ms. Harrison challenges the conception dates provided by Ms. Moore, suggesting discrepancies in the timeline that could affect paternity. The discussion heats up as both parties dispute the dates and the possible fathers, highlighting the complexity of the situation. Things are about to go into overdrive.
Why we have the doubt? Because that's why we're here. Say the conception dates don't add up.
Because if you told him in December that you were pregnant, your baby would have been born in September, because my daughter is September 22nd.
And so
she needs to learn her math. class. Go back to school.
And
That's
so
what
hold
you
on,
need to
Ms.
do.
Moore.
Go back to
Ms. Moore.
school.
Buckle up for this emotional ride. Ms. Moore describes a difficult birth process involving an emergency C-section, which Mr. Butler was not informed about nor present for, raising questions about his involvement and concern as a potential father. The upcoming segment is a doozy, so keep watching.
I actually went into labor. I started having labor pains on the 25th. My blood pressure went sky high. My doctor came in and told me that my baby heart rate was going down. So as it was going down, she was getting less oxygen. So they had to get her out. I did not see my baby. I went to an emergency C-section.
Just when you think it can't get more tangled, the court examines photographic evidence suggesting another man might be the child's father. The conversation revolves around who was present during the child's early life and the naming on the birth certificate, which does not list Mr. Butler. The drama continues, so don't go anywhere.
This is the
He
same
stepped
man
up.
that
Went
she
to every
just-
doctor's appointment.
That looks just
No, you a lie on that
they
one.
look just
My
alike.
fiance is way finer than him.
The other reason is the baby doesn't carry his last name. She's never shown him the birth certificate.
That there may be another man listed on the birth certificate.
No.
Wait for it. Here it comes. The DNA test results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Butler, you are her father.
Do what you gotta do.
Miss Vaughn steps into the courtroom, aiming to prove to her husband, Mr. Williams, that he is indeed the father of their 1-year-old son, Connor Williams. She believes their marriage was just a quick fix because of the unexpected pregnancy, and since she's filed for divorce, Mr. Williams has stepped back from his fatherly duties. On top of that, she's hitting him with a lawsuit for $1,275 for daycare costs. Strap in, because this ride is just getting started.
Ms. Vaughn, you are here to prove to your husband, Mr. Williams, that he is the father of your 1-year-old child, Connor Williams. You say the only reason the two of you got married was because of the sin. Now that you filed for divorce, he refuses to be a father. Now, you're also suing the defendant for $1,275 for daycare expenses.
And here comes the curveball. Mr. Williams counters with doubts about his paternity, accusing Miss Vaughn of using him as a cash machine and hinting that she might have another man in the mix, whom he labels the real dad. This sets the stage for a fiery clash over who's really responsible for little Connor and the crumbled state of their marriage. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for what's next.
You also believe Ms. Vaughn has a secret sugar daddy and had that man throughout your entire relationship, and he's the real father. What has Mr. Williams done for Connor?
Brian hasn't did anything for him. The only thing he has done was buy 2 cases of diapers and furnish 2 outfits when he was a newborn. And he watched him while I was at work for a couple times, but it's not enough of a month full of Sundays.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Mr. Williams spills the tea about campus rumors that have been fanning the flames of his doubt, suggesting that he might not be Connor's dad after all. This revelation adds another layer of drama and skepticism to the ongoing marital saga. And guess what? It's about to get even juicier.
You say you had people telling you she was promiscuous and she was having sex with other people and the child may not be yours?
Because I did disclaim that at one putting me in the doghouse, so it gave me a lot of free time to not be with her. And by the doghouse, I mean we were not being intimate. We were not always together for days at a time.
Did you have doubt married her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, and it turns out family pressures were at an all-time high. The court learns about the heavy expectations from both families, especially from Miss Vaughn's mother, who insisted they tie the knot to avoid any scandal of having a child out of wedlock. This revelation peels back another layer of complexity in their relationship. But hang on, the next bit is a real eyebrow raiser.
I requested to meet her mother because I didn't believe that a parent would be in support
Well, you just find out Centauria was pregnant because your son
did it. His father and I requested to meet her. We actually went to her house. And after having the discussion with her and she shared with us, then the next step was for them to get married because her grandchild, she never said their child, her grandchild was not coming into this world a bastard. We realized that she was the one driving the bus on this relationship, been pregnant. Who got pregnant by Brian?
Talk about throwing a wrench in the works. Mr. Williams throws down the gauntlet with allegations of a sugar daddy in the mix, dubbed Papa Bear, who he claims has been pulling the strings behind the scenes. This bombshell hints at possible infidelity and throws an even bigger wrench into the already complicated paternity issue. You're not going to want to miss what comes out of the woodwork next.
Mr. Williams, you say she's got a sugar daddy. What is this all about in your mind?
It was a phone call that I received. I'm not sure how he even obtained my number, but he was telling me to babysit. Well, why would I be babysitting my child child. So he told me to be there babysitting.
This man is telling you when to be there to take care of your child?
Yes.
Who is this person?
It's her Papa Bear. That's her nickname for him.
Things just got real with receipts. The court dives into some spicy social media exchanges between Miss Vaughn and Papa Bear, discussing DNA tests and daddy duties. These messages crank up the drama notch and solidify Mr. Williams' suspicions about the whole fatherhood fiasco. But hold on, the next part will knock your socks off.
Insinuating that he's not calling him daddy right now, because that's not.
So you're reading these Facebook messages and you've got your wife calling a man Papa Bear. They're going back and forth on Facebook. And he's saying by next month the baby will be calling me daddy, and you're reading messages about somebody needing to get a DNA test. And you're feeling like this is pointing to you and the fact that you may not be Connor's biological father.
Yes.
Here's where it gets downright scandalous. Miss Vaughn drops a bombshell by admitting to an ongoing intimate relationship with Papa Bear, despite still being married to Mr. Williams. This revelation seriously shakes up the court's perception of her credibility and the state of their union. The stakes are high, and the courtroom's about to heat up even more.
Have you been intimate with Papa Bear? Is it an intimate relationship or just best friends?
We are an intimate relationship.
Oh, you are in an intimate relationship.
But she's still married though.
Oh, we're still.
You get it from your mama.
No, you get your behavior from your mother because
but we've
you
never
all
been
don't
on
know
31st
anything.
Street.
Hold on.
Brian.
Miss Vaughn, I want to be clear. You're still married to Mr. Williams.
We're separated, yes.
You're separated
Legally.
from Mr. Williams, but you are intimate with Papa Bear guy.
And now, the money matter takes center stage. Miss Vaughn presents proof of her hefty childcare payments, which Mr. Williams apparently hasn't helped with, spotlighting the financial and personal strife accompanying their paternity and relationship turmoil. Just wait till you see how this financial feud plays out.
So these are the receipts for childcare.
Yes, for Connor Williams, his daddy's.
All right, so this is 3 months of childcare, pretty.
And I get no government assistance, so it's straight cash.
This is $2,550. You know a child has to have someone to care for. She's been paying out this money so she can go to work. Have you helped her with this $2,550? Or have you at least said, while you're working, I will watch him so we don't have to incur this expense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ready for the grand finale. The DNA test results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Williams, you are the father.
Pay the lady.
Can you believe what just happened? Mr. Matthews just admitted that one of his biggest mistakes was not being a good dad to his daughter, Kiana. Now she's wondering if he's really her biological father. He's here in court today to prove he is. But then Ms. Shaw says her daughter used to think Mr. Matthews was her dad, but now believes another man is her real father. Just when you think it couldn't get more confusing. Hold on for what's next.
Mr. Matthews, you say you've made many mistakes in your life, but the worst is not being a good dad to the defendant's daughter. You claim that has caused her to deny you are her daughter's father. You are here to prove the truth. She biologically is yours. Ms. Shaw, you admit your daughter believed that Mr. Matthews was her dad, but now stand in court, prove that another man is her biological father.
Did you catch that twist? Mr. Matthews talks about his past mistakes and how they messed up his relationship with Kiana and her mom. He tried to reconnect with Kiana on Facebook, but she was still angry because of his past. Admitting his regrets, Mr. Matthews talks about the deep scars left on his family. Get ready, because this emotional roller coaster isn't over yet.
Mr. Matthews, you say you've made mistakes. Tell me about that.
When I was younger, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so I can understand that Miss would want to act the way she does. When I tried to reach out to her on Facebook, she was kind of angry at me because of my episodes in my life.
So you're saying you were not a good father?
Not at all.
And so your belief is that this whole issue is surrounding your failure to be a good father?
That's true.
Who saw that coming? In a past court session, Mr. Matthews denied having a relationship with Ms. Shaw during a DNA test, but now admits he lied. This opens up a messy past full of cheating and lies. And guess what? The surprises keep coming.
No wonder you said you never had sex with this woman. And you had a husband?
Yes.
All right, so you two were basically cheating on your spouses with one another?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you get to the magistrate, says, I've never had sex with that woman, and how does the magistrate rule?
The magistrate looked and asked me, did I want to go for it? And I told him no.
That wasn't what happened.
Oh, you were so angry at that point that he lied.
I was done. I never approached after that point. His wife already knew at that point about Kiana.
How's that for a twist? Kiana shares how she felt like an outsider at Mr. Matthews' house. She points out how he loved his other other kids, but ignored her, showing how much it hurt her. The family drama gets even more intense in the next testimony.
And the way I looked at it is we both was having fun. We both was young. And when she told me she was pregnant, I was too busy trying to enjoy myself because I wasn't trying to be with no one woman. I already had a wife.
So the point is, when you stood in the courtroom with your wife and you said you never slept with Miss Shaw, was that because you were scared to lose your wife, or is that because you did not want to be bothered with a child?
A little bit of both.
But Miss Shaw, you said that Kiana had already been going over to their house.
Yes.
Ready for this? Mr. Matthews talks about being in and out of Kiana's life and admits he wasn't a good father. He wants to fix his mistakes now, admitting how much his neglect hurt Kiana. Hang on, because the story gets even more dramatic soon.
You decided, I'm not even going to be bothered with trying to prove that he is my daughter's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
But did you know for certain that he was? You had a paternity doubt, but you just weren't going to be bothered with him because he lied.
He was not the only man that I had slept with.
Were you honest about that, Miss Thompson, your daughter?
Yes, she's known all her life.
Think it can't get more tangled? Think again. A heated argument reveals both Mr. Matthews and Ms. Shaw were cheating on each other when Kiana was conceived. This shows their chaotic relationship and the deep trust issues. Get ready, because the revelations get even crazier.
And here it is. Wait a minute. Okay, but you had threw him out.
Yeah.
But then when I came over there, you had me rubbing your stomach and all that good stuff.
I had my
and here,
stomach.
yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Stop that
and here it is. Talking about bring me a fish sandwich over to the house. And I'm bringing you like,
that fish sandwich is when
Come
you're
on.
pregnant.
Yes.
I used to crave those too. That was funny you said that. I said, now that testimony is true.
Yeah, and every night when
also
we would
she
get
had
off,
me feed her
he
to
would
it,
come
too.
and feed me.
All right then.
You'll need a minute for this. Mr. Matthews talks about his reluctance to accept he might be Kiana's dad, influenced by his family and his own doubts. This part shows the intense family pressures he faced. As we get closer to the truth, the tension is high.
Seeing the baby because Miss Shaw was living at the time. Rumors fly around. First my grandmother told my mother, then my mother told me, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna sit back there and say yes.
What did they say?
She said, well, the baby look like you. I said, no, it don't. I'm not gonna sit back because I didn't want my wife to know. Well, my mother told my wife. And when you're in them kind of circumstances, you don't want to sit back and admit that, this baby may be yours.
Ever wonder what a hospital soap opera looks like? The courtroom hears about the chaotic scene at Kiana's birth with multiple potential fathers. This adds even more complexity, showing the wild relationships and tangled stories around Kiana's arrival. The stakes are high as we move to the next big reveal.
So if anytime he come over, yes, he can come and stay.
Every time I came over there, you made me feel like I was comfortable at your house. Yeah, you rubbing me down.
If I tell you to
cooking
come,
dinner.
I'm cooking dinner. I'm welcoming you because that's my house.
How can a woman sit back there and say that you was married, but you would sit back there act like you was married to
Lord, no,
me?
he didn't.
Oh, yes, I did.
Was I the only one married?
Can Kiana find the dad she's been longing for? The court looks into whether Mr. Matthews is really her father, amidst all the complicated personal histories. Kiana talks about her feelings towards Mr. Matthews, showing how his on and off presence affected her. The moment of truth is coming, and it's a big one.
He's the father of my youngest son. And a lot of her, like the way she favors his mom, and whatever she needed, he was always there.
Did she ever tell you that she believed Mr. Brooks was really your biological father?
He also writes me on Facebook and he'll talk to me and stuff, but I just don't see it.
Interesting is Mr. Matthews is here to prove that he is your biological father.
Ready for the big reveal? The paternity test results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Matthews, you are not the father. I'm so sorry, Kiana.
Ms. Hulsinger begins with a request for a DNA test to prove Mr. May is the father of her 2-year-old son, Gabriel, claiming Mr. May has been MIA in his fatherly duties. Mr. May fires back, disputing his paternity due to some fishy circumstances around the signing of the birth certificate. The courtroom's buzzing, and we're just getting started. What's next? Just wait for the drama to unfold.
Ms. Hulsinger, you petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that the defendant is the father of your 2-year-old son, Gabriel. You say Mr. May has abandoned responsibilities and he will get the truth today.
You can't make this stuff up. Mr. May spills the beans about feeling pressured to accept paternity and put his name on the birth certificate. Meanwhile, Ms. Hulsinger recounts their whirlwind romance that started on a chat line, quickly escalating from idle chats to a full-blown relationship drama. You'll want to stick around because the plot thickens.
Mr. May, you claim you pressured into signing the birth certificate and now you are stuck with a woman foolishly believes you are her child's father. So you're not doing anything for this child
No,
right
Your
now.
Honor. I'm out of the child's life right
right now.
The child's 2 years old?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you agree? Nothing, Ms. Hulsinger?
He hasn't done anything for my son at all.
Hold your horses. It gets wilder. The focus shifts to the fateful night they believe Gabriel was conceived. Ms. Hulsinger admits they didn't use protection, and Mr. May initially seemed on board with fatherhood. However, his doubts start creeping in due to Ms. Hulsinger's questionable interactions with other dudes. Just when you thought it was complicated enough, there's more mischief on the horizon.
Take me to the night in question where all the chatting turned into paternity court material.
Your Honor, it was a late night. She was one of the young ladies who was on at the other end of the line and left me a message. I left her a message, and we ended up hooking up.
Do you remember that first night, Ms. Hulsinger?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you use protection?
No, Your Honor.
Can you feel the tension? Mr. May details a suspicious encounter involving another man at Ms. Hulsinger's residence, deepening his paternity doubts. The fiery exchange about Ms. Hulsinger's honesty and the trustworthiness of her paternity claims adds fuel to the fire. As the accusations fly, get ready because the courtroom is about to turn up the heat even more.
That came at a time when I was over her house. One time we was upstairs in her room and beep, 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 outside, didn't leave. So she was asking me, was I ready to leave? Got to go downstairs and I'm about to go out the back door. She told me to go out the front door. Open up the back door, there's a gentleman right there. And he asked me, was I there for Mrs. Host? I told him I wasn't there for Mrs. Hosting. I was there for one of her family members, and I proceeded to walk on out the door while she hid behind the refrigerator.
Fasten your seatbelts for more turbulence. Mr. May mentions rumors and incriminating text messages that further ignite his skepticism. Despite the swirling doubts, their tumultuous relationship trudges on, affecting his involvement with the child. And guess what? It's about to get even bumpier.
Bottom line is you were hearing rumors, saw messages on her phone.
Guys knocking at the back door, Jan.
Guys knocking at the back door. This is all while she's pregnant and you all are still seeing each other.
Yes.
And so you thinking to yourself, you might not be the only father here. So when you actually went into labor?
Yes, ma'am. He wasn't there for me. My family member go and get him so he could come up there and see my son.
Oh, so they went to go get him.
And I had my doubt.
Here's where it gets dicey. The discussion turns to Mr. May's pressure-filled decision to sign the birth certificate, bringing up big legal and emotional stakes. Admitting to his shaky decision amidst family pressures and emotional manipulation, he opens up a can of worms. Eyes peeled, folks. The next revelation is a doozy.
In your court papers, I see here, it says you signed the birth certificate too.
Yes,
How did that happen?
Pressure.
So
I'm getting, he has your nose, he has your head. What you gonna do now? This, that. And I'm just like, let me just be a man. Let me sign the birth certificate. If it's mine, I'm gonna deal with it.
Did you know when you signed that birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor.
That you would be now
yes, Your
the
Honor.
legal father of this child?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is heart-wrenching. Ms. Hulsinger passionately insists that Mr. May recognize paternity privately, despite his public doubts. This intense moment highlights the emotional toll on both parties, and especially on Gabriel. As emotions run high, the courtroom braces for a bombshell that could change everything.
This photo was submitted to the court. It is Mr. May, little beautiful baby, Gabriel. I don't see a lot of doubt in this photo.
Cause it ain't. Cause he know that baby is his, Your Honor. And it's really hurting me that he's not stepping up to be a man. My son needs his father. And, and I know I'm part of the blame because I know I wasn't in a relationship with him. That, I was doing my own thing too.
You won't believe this twist. Out of the blue, Mr. May drops a bombshell about a call from another man claiming he's Gabriel's dad, sending shockwaves through the courtroom and tangling the narrative with new allegations of Ms. Hulsinger's romantic escapades. Keep your eyes on the screen because what comes next is pivotal.
Who is this person?
I told you he was a stalker. He just pops up anytime I was moving.
Your Honor.
Oh, that's the same guy from the refrigerator?
Yes.
So you're saying it's a different guy from the refrigerator incident?
Totally different guy.
No,
total
it's the
different
same guy.
If he stole your phone, how did he know to call Mr. May?
Because I told him, look, I'm pregnant. I don't need this in my life because he knew that I was not trying to mess with him.
Grab your popcorn. This part's juicy. Ms. Hulsinger pulls out a calendar, aiming to pinpoint the conception date linked to her rendezvous with Mr. May. But the court scrutinizes the calendar's accuracy against her admissions of other liaisons around the same time. As the plot thickens, the courtroom awaits the crucial DNA result with bated breath.
You've presented me with a calendar, the day you were intimate with Mr. May, and that would be January 26th.
I believe I conceived on the 28th.
Were you intimate with anyone else around these dates?
Maybe a week between.
Which week?
The week of the 13th.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. May, you are the father.
Can you believe what just unfolded? The episode starts with Judge Lake settling into her chair, and the court clerk announcing the case of Pierce versus Koval. Here we have Mr. Pierce dragging his ex-fiancée Ms. Koval to court, demanding a paternity test to confirm if he really is the father of 1-year-old Julian. Doubts are flying everywhere because of Ms. Koval's little confession about a past fling during conception. Stay tuned, because Ms. Koval is about to spill some serious tea.
It's a case of Pierce versus Koval.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Pierce, you are summoning your ex-fiancée, Ms. Koval, for a paternity test to prove that her 1-year-old son, Julian, is not your son. Claim Ms. Koval deceived you into believing you were father, and it wasn't until Julian was 6 old when she finally confessed she had cheated and you may not be the father.
The air is thick with tension. Ms. Koval steps up, admits her slip, but stands her ground that Mr. Pierce is definitely Julian's dad. She's a mix of nerves and defiance, regretting her mistake, but fighting to prove she's been truthful about who the daddy is. Brace yourselves. Mr. Pierce is about to take us on a roller coaster ride through his past.
Ms. Koval, you admit you cheated around the window of conception, but you still say you have no doubt Pierce is your child's father. How do you feel about being dragged into court today?
I'm a little upset. I want to prove that he's the father. I want to show him that I have been telling the truth. I know I made a mistake, but I've been paying for it every single day since.
Did that just drop a bombshell or what? Mr. Pierce opens up about his trust issues, fueled by a cocktail of past betrayals and present doubts. He recounts tales of past deceptions, where he was duped into playing dad, painting a picture of why he's got this nagging doubt gnawing at him about little Julian. What's coming next is a gut-punch revelation about how he uncovered Ms. Koval's betrayal.
You believe this was truly necessary because you have doubt.
You know, it's happened to me in the past before. I just have this doubt, and it's killing our family. It's killing the relationship I do have with the kids, and it hurts. It truly hurts.
I can see that it really does. And you have an older child together, and this is destroying your family.
And it's happened to me before. I mean, going back 10 years ago, you know, I've had the same thing happen to me. A young woman get pregnant, I was 18 years old, but she told me at the time that it may not be my child.
You won't see this twist coming. We dive deeper as Mr. Pierce recounts the fateful moment Ms. Koval decided to come clean. Amidst a seemingly perfect phase in their relationship, she dropped the bombshell of her infidelity, shattering Mr. Pierce's world and cranking up his doubts to maximum overdrive. The plot thickens as we delve into when exactly this cheating scandal unfolded.
Around Valentine's Day, around her birthday, we got engaged. I proposed to her. She was pregnant with Julian at the time. It was after he was born. I don't know what came over me, but I was just like, you know, we're doing really good right now. We're whatever. If there's anything you got to tell me, you know, let's get it out the air right now. I'm not going to get mad because we're so in a good place right now. It was like, you know, here's your free pass. She told me, you know, that she had cheated on me back.
This is where things get sticky. They break down the nitty-gritty timeline of when Julian was conceived and when Ms. Koval had her indiscretion. Turns out, the timing is as suspect as a thriller novel, perfectly lining up with Julian's arrival. What unfolds next is the heart-wrenching impact of these revelations on their family life.
When was he born?
May 13th.
Explain to the court about when you had that moment where you fell short and cheated.
It was in September. I don't remember the exact date. I just lost a baby.
Early September, middle September?
It was early September.
All right. Did you say the end of August, beginning of September?
Somewhere around that.
Okay, that could take us back in here. So you cheated right around here. If you count the months, that's looking like the window of conception.
Grab your popcorn. This drama isn't over yet. The tension between Mr. Pierce and Ms. Koval has escalated to daily bickering, turning their home into a battlefield of doubts and accusations. Mr. Pierce is haunted by the sight of Julian, tortured by uncertainty, and struggling to connect with the boy. But hang in there, because the paternity test results are about to make a grand entrance.
What's your relationship been like since all of this has transpired?
It's not there. It's just been going downhill ever since this has happened. We bicker and fight all the time, and now it's
And so
just
this
went all
marriage
down.
ultimately is pretty because of this situation.
Correct. Took back the ring and everything just because I can't do it. The results come back that he's not mine. I don't think we can save the relationship.
So the stakes are very high. Ms. Koval.
Ready for the grand reveal? The courtroom holds its breath as the paternity test results are unveiled.
With the man you cheated with, you said no. The lie detector determined that was the truth. You were asked if during your relationship with Mr. Pierce, had you had sexual relations with any other man besides the one you admitted to. You said no. The lie detector determined that was the truth.
In a jaw-dropping reveal, Miss Williams drops a bombshell about a family secret where the defendant, whom she believed to be her father, shook the foundations of their family by confessing that he might not be her biological father due to a cheating incident involving her mother. This startling admission has propelled her and her sister into court, determined to debunk his claim and assert their paternity. The stage is set for an even more gripping confrontation next.
Ms. Williams, 5 years ago, the defendant, who you believed was your father, revealed a shocking family secret, that your mother cheated, and you are not his daughter. You and your sister are in court to prove him wrong. Mr. Scales, you are a retired semi-pro football player and claim it was during one of your away games that Elisa's mother cheated on you with one of your teammates.
You won't believe what's coming next. Mr. Scales takes the spotlight, sharing a tale soaked in betrayal as he recounts the circumstances under which he suspects his former partner was unfaithful. Detailing a night of an away game, he tells of how she vanished from the hotel room, sparking his suspicions of her infidelity, which he believes led to the conception of Elisa with another man. What unfolds next will leave you hanging on the edge of your seat.
In 1983, we had an away game in Pensacola, and I took Miss Williams with me. We checked into a hotel, and I went to bed early because I worked that day, and it was a Friday. So about 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up, and Miss Williams is no longer in the room.
How long was she gone?
It was at least an hour or two.
You believed at that moment that something was going on.
For sure.
As the courtroom buzzes with anticipation, the plot thickens with the introduction of a crucial piece of evidence, the birth certificate. Elisa is listed as Mr. Scales' daughter, despite his insistence that he never signed it, throwing a wrench into the legal acknowledgement of paternity and raising serious questions about the document's legitimacy. Just wait until you hear the mother's explosive testimony next. It's a doozy!
She's presented to the court, her birth certificate. You're listed as father.
I could be listed as father, but I never signed it.
You did not sign it. At that point, did you have a question of her paternity? I could be this child's father.
That's correct.
Everything in me feels like I'm his daughter.
How was it presented to you
accomplished.
specifically?
Let me show y'all something and tell y'all something. I do what I want to do.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the problem.
As harsh as Mr. Scales is in this moment, and I do believe his delivery is harsh.
The atmosphere charges with tension as Belinda, the mother, storms into the courtroom. In a confrontation that could rival any daytime drama, she challenges Mr. Scales, revealing that yes, she did have an affair, but it wasn't on the infamous night he mentioned. She admits to a rendezvous with another man, but insists it didn't immediately turn romantic. This confession complicates the narrative even further. Buckle up, because the DNA test results are about to turn everything upside down.
And you know you're a liar.
Hi, ma'am. Miss Williams, I just want to ask you, do you believe Mr. Scales has any reason to doubt that Elisa is his biological daughter?
There's no reason. If he was gonna doubt a child, he should doubt Tanja. When I had the affair with the person in question, when I met
I
the
rest
person
my case, Your Honor.
in question, I didn't even have any kids from him.
Mr. Scales, you are her father.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Can you believe what just unfolded? Ms. Shomo drops a bombshell confession about a weekend fling with a co-worker while still hitched to Mr. Kleckler. She spills the beans on being intimate with both men over the same wild weekend, casting doubt over the paternity of her 11-month-old son, Theseus. If you thought that was a jaw-dropper, just wait for what's coming up next.
Ms. Shomo, you confess you had a weekend fling with a co-worker while married to the defendant, Mr. Kleckler. Now, because you admit to being intimate with both men during the same two-day period, you now say you have no idea who fathered your 11-month-old son, Theseus.
Hold on to your popcorn. This part is a doozy. Mr. Freeman, the said co-worker, steps into the spotlight, admitting he might be the biological dad, and, get this, he wants full custody if the DNA test swings his way. This twist throws a whole new layer of drama into the mix, not just about who the daddy is, but who gets to raise the kiddo. The next bit is going to ratchet up the tension even further.
You are that co-worker, and you're the second possible biological father. You state that if it's determined you are indeed the child's biological father, you want full custody. What made you stray from your marriage and possibly conceive 2 children outside of your relationship?
I was going through some difficulty, feeling unwanted by my husband, and I felt Mr. Freeman was giving me more attention than my husband was.
Did that twist catch you off guard? Here's Ms. Shomo explaining why she strayed from her marriage with Mr. Kleckler. Turns out, it's a classic tale of feeling neglected neglected and finding solace in the arms of a more attentive coworker, Mr. Freeman. She lays bare the emotional turmoil and decisions leading up to this courtroom showdown. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
How did Mr. Freeman get in the picture?
Me and him were friends, Your Honor. He just showed me more affection than my husband did.
Mr. Freeman, when you met Ms. Shomo, you knew she was a married woman?
Yes, Your Honor. Saying that he was cheating, you know what I'm saying, talking to other females or whatever. So, you know, so we started conversating and talking, and it went from there.
And so when she got pregnant, did she tell you?
A couple of months in pregnancy.
You'll need to see this to believe it. As little Theseus gets older, Ms. Shomo starts noticing features that might just make Mr. Freeman the likely dad. This period of doubt and the ensuing scrutiny are pivotal as they lead to the quest for a definitive DNA paternity test. The revelations in the next scene are going to turn everything on its head.
In the first stages of your son's life, beautiful brown skin and hair, and I can see that when you had him, you said, he looks like me. And then as he got older, you just didn't see Mr. Kleckler in him.
Right.
You said that Mr. Freeman and you used protection when you all were together.
Yes.
And yet, was it even more surprising to you when you started to see or feel like it was looking like Mr. Freeman because you all used protection?
Here's the clincher everyone's been waiting for. The courtroom is thick with anticipation. As Judge Lake gears up to unveil the DNA results, the air is electric with the stakes sky high, especially for little Theseus, whose future hangs in the balance. Strap in, because what's about to be revealed is nothing short of a game changer.
Before I read the results, I want to ask you, Mr. Kleckler, what are you hoping for today?
He's mine. Just gonna take care of him like I do my other kids. It's not gonna change either way how I treat the kid. It's just gonna change financial wise. That way I can provide for my girls. 2 little girls, that's his brother. He got another little boy that's his brother. I've been in all their lives. They know me. I'm not gonna treat any of the kids any different.
Do you want to repair your relationship with your wife?
I would love to, Your Honor.
The envelope, please.
It has been determined that the biological father is Mr. Freeman.
Yes. Congratulations, y'all. So appreciate it. Do what I got to do. That's all I got to say.
I'm really relieved because my son needs a father in his life.